Here are my impressions of Nintendo's main E3 2012 presentation, which was held on June 5th. It was mainly focused on Wii U. Generally, I was pleased with most of the presentation and most of the news. The stage presence of the personalities that appeared on stage, the news, the production values, that I was all happy with. I was dissatisfied with some of the pacing and some of the decisions over what Nintendo did and didn't choose to show at their main presentation. I was definitely dissatisfied with the seemingly abrupt ending. It seemed like they were just sort of starting to get up their momentum. I was dissatisfied with the internet, which really seemed to take this presentation as the end of Nintendo's E3 news and announcements rather than the beginning. Which, if they had watched the presentation, was what Nintendo stressed extensively, that this wasn't the entirety of what Wii U had to offer and what Nintendo was going to show at E3. The first 10 minutes, those were all dedicated to Pikmin. That was great. The opening with Miyamoto in his dressing room, I loved all that. The quick reintroductory brief, I think that was necessary because I can't assume everyone watched Nintendo Direct. That went well. One thing I would say is, why would Reggie be discussing the Miiverse when there was an entire presentation on Sunday just to introduce the Miiverse? They could have mentioned it, but I think he spent like maybe several minutes on that, and I don't think he shouldn't have. I think that's what Nintendo Direct was for on Sunday. And then new Mario Brothers U. Well, critics have been demanding, critics and gamers, they've been demanding a new Wii U game, a Mario game for the launch of a Nintendo system. It hasn't happened since Nintendo 64, so we're gonna have that. That's definitely good. The game itself, I mean, you could see my reaction videos from E3 2011 in Nintendo World. Everyone would like sort of just moan, like all the energy went out of the room when they announced the new Mario Brothers Me tech demo that was shown last year at E3. And I was like, I loved New Super Mario Brothers Wii. I think it's one of the best games Nintendo ever made, one of the best 2D Mario platformers. But even I was like, when they showed Mario Brothers Me, I'm like, that does not do anything for me. It's way too conservative. Mario Brothers U, now of course it looks similar. The graphics are much improved. The backgrounds and the foregrounds, the graphics are just gorgeous. I love the that sort of haunted level where the background was all like painterly style. Uh, it really shows how far you could take the graphics. I would have liked them to be a bit more ambitious with the graphics, but I'm definitely uh, satisfied. Like New Mario Brothers Me, I wouldn't have bought that. I flat out would just not have purchased that. New Mario Brothers U, I'd buy. I would say they could take the new out the title now. They could just call it Mario Brothers U, and I think that would work fine. I like the music. Finally, we have new music for a new Mario platformer, because Mario Brothers Wii just used the same main theme from Mario Brothers DS. What was next? Batman City, Arkham City, Armored. Well, it's good to show how they show how the Wii U gamepad could transform and enhance a critically acclaimed hardcore game with ideas and mechanics that aren't possible on a single screen. At the same time, I think it may have been a bit much to treat a game released last fall as a big reason to buy. At the same time, Game of the Year editions of 360, PS3, and PC games, many months to nearly a year after the launch of the original version, those are already standard practice on all those platforms. So I would say it's a double standard to say that an enhanced version of like an automatic fail because it's on Nintendo now. But I would say that uh, I'll go on to well, I'll say right now is there are way too many introductions and videos and personalities in the lead up to Batman. Like we had the intro with Harley Quinn. That was cool. That was the people in the Nintendo World Store. They got a huge kick out of that. Then what happened? Like yeah, that was cute. Then the one guy from Warner Brothers came out. Then they had a video of some other guy introducing yet another person who actually did the video explaining things. I think that was way too much stuff to have in there. They could have just did the Harley Quinn thing, have the guy come out, and they show the trailer showing how the new features for Wii U. That being said, I don't think Arkham City should have been featured in that much detail whatsoever. I think the role of Arkham City had in Nintendo's main E3 presentation should have been replaced by Aliens Colonial Marines, another multi-platform game, only this one isn't out yet, and Gearbox has been talking about how like how the Wii U version is going to be the definitive console version with it's going to have the best graphics of all the console versions with unique features, and the controls are awesome for a first person shooter. I think that would have been a much more appropriate and fitting game to show on stage. uh, Scribblenauts Universe, that was good, but they could have pared down. They should have pared down the introduction of Scribblenauts to nothing but the trailer. Um, then about 30 minutes and the third-party sizzle reel started. We got Darksiders 2, Mass Effect 3, Tank Tank Tank, Tekken Tag Tournament 2, Trine 2 Director's Cut, Ninja Gaiden 3, Razor's Edge. Nintendo is actually publishing Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge. Hopefully they actually like go in and fix the things that were said to be wrong with the Xbox 360 and PS3 versions. And then we had Alien Colonial Marines, and that was about a 2 minute third party compilation trailer. And then Reggie started talking about casual games. He mentioned the "My Body Is Ready" meme and the reaction it caused. That was funny. That was good. Then they showed a new accessory for Wii Fit U called the Fit Meter, but it was really weird because Reggie mentioned a new accessory and they showed it in the trailer for barely a couple of seconds, and they didn't place much emphasis on it or what it does. They could have spent a couple of more seconds on that, even though I think they did spend enough time on Wii Fit U. They didn't linger on it, which was very nice. They didn't give an extensive. Yeah, I think they got through that nice and quickly. And people are like, "Oh, it's Wii Fit U. Nintendo hates hardcore because of this one game." It's like the thing is, you want to. People are saying like, "Oh, they should have made we should have been a GameCube too." Nintendo used to make cool hardcore systems like the GameCube. If hardcore game, if they if Nintendo abandoned hardcore gamers who supported them on the GameCube, were those guys when GameCube sold 20 million lifetime, and everyone was on PS2 talking about how GameCube was kiddie and novice only? People were basically saying a lot of the same things about the GameCube that people were saying about the Wii, but with the GameCube, it was fashionable to dislike the GameCube, but on the Wii, then the critics were saying, oh, they should have made it more like the GameCube, whereas Wii Fit, that one game alone, totally destroyed the lifetime sales of the GameCube hardware itself. No logical reason whatsoever that they shouldn't, continue with catering to the expanded audience. They got over it with the Wii, and so then they showed how you could use Wii Fit. You can now do the exercises without using the TV, which is a great thing when you have lifestyle sort of software. It's great that you don't have to turn on the TV. It expands the ease of use to being like a wishful think. It just makes it more plausible that someone would actually use this more frequently as part of their daily routine. Uh, then there was the trailer for Sing. The trailer for Sing did not demonstrate the concept well. It was very confusing. It was rushed. I had no idea exactly what the game was or how it worked. Was it a karaoke game? Was it a rhythm game? Uh, that trailer didn't demonstrate the game well. That was definitely the low point of the presentation as a whole. And 37 minutes in, we now start discussing Nintendo 3DS, and we bring out Scott Moffat, who is, I believe, the Vice President of Sales and Marketing, which was Reggie's original job title when he came onto Nintendo back in 2003. Scott Moffat, new face on the Nintendo E3 stage, is his first public appearance. That being said, he had a very good stage presence. He delivered his lines well, like George Harrison, who last appeared at E3 2006, I believe. George Harrison. He headlined the E3s from '03 to 0. He did '03, 0. He appeared in '03, '04, '05, and '06. He was not especially charismatic. He flubbed his lines a lot. It was just not a very good stage presence. Not as bad as Cammie Dunaway. And the funny thing is, Cammie Dunaway performed well. It's just that she was really annoying and irritating and condescending. This new Scott Moffat guy, I liked him. I'm going to like seeing a presentation of 3DS games by him later this evening. Reggie said he came out and said, "Oh, he says that he carved out a few minutes for Moffat to talk about 3DS." And when I heard that, I was like, "Yes, this should have been nothing more than Scott announcing that, oh, we have no time to talk about 3DS today because this is all about Wii U. We're going to plug the special 3DS conference that's going to take place the next day, today as I'm filming this, and show a quick trailer for New Super Mario Bros. 2, and then maybe tease something like big, like, oh, if you watch, there's going to be a new Zelda for 3DS reveal or something like that. Instead, what he did was he said, oh, we have no time today to talk about 3DS. There's going to be a special conference, but we're going to try to squeeze in a 3DS segment anyway. So he showed a prop. They showed Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, which is the most random subtitle ever. Like if you'd said that there's Luigi, if you told me like 2 years ago that there'd be a Luigi's Mansion game called Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, I would have thought it was some kind of parody or something. It just sounds really odd and generic. The game looks cool though. The 3D is probably going to be very striking because I saw the 3D trailer from last year's E3. The 3D was very striking in that form. Paper Mario, and they showed Paper Mario, and he talked over the trailers, so it's not like they showed the trailer then he talked about it, so at least there's that. And then he showed New Mario Bros. 2, which has the hook of this game seems to be this theme of gold, like Mario turns gold and the enemies turn gold, and it's almost like sort of like a Danmaku, I believe it's called a shooter, like a side-scroller shooter, where like enemies just explode with bullets. This time, enemies are exploding with coins, and they're just coins flying everywhere, and gold blocks, and things that turn bricks into gold, and fireballs that turn enemies into gold coins. And I wonder what the thought process that led to that is. That's very interesting. And then they showed a third-party sizzle reel of 3DS games, I guess, and they spent about just under 10 minutes on 3DS. I think they should have spent maybe 2 minutes or 3 minutes on 3DS. Then they showed Lego City Undercover, which was revealed last year. They showed a couple of static screenshots at E3 2011 of Lego City Stories, obviously a reference to the naming convention of the Grand Theft Auto side stories, where they had like Vice City stories and Liberty City stories. So it's sort of an open world sort of Grand Theft Auto themed game, but of course you're playing as an undercover cop this time. It looked fun. It's not something I would play, but it looked like a perfectly good game. The graphics were really sharp on that one, and that was they weren't that many games where they showed extensive use of how the new gamepad would be used. This one they did, so it was nice to see that. And what's next? Then they went to Ubisoft's presentation. And if Nintendo planned to place so much emphasis on Ubisoft at their main Wii U introduction conference, like their main press event to introduce Wii U games, then they should not have let Ubisoft show what they did show the day before. Then there was the Just Dance demo, which it was the onstage demo for Just Dance 4 was only 1 minute and 30 seconds long. And I see people reacting like that was like, oh, like it was the Usher performance from Microsoft's presentation, and that went on for like 5 or 6 or more minutes or something. Yeah, Just Dance, all they came out on stage, they showed what was the new with the gamepad for like a minute, and then they ran off stage. They got that out the way really quick. And while I would rather them not have shown it, they took care of. They consciously planned that to get it out of the way really quick. And they showed Zombie U, which they showed actual gameplay this time, because yesterday it's really how they've been introducing Zombie U. Because when they first showed Zombie U, it was at Nintendo Direct, and they kind of showed it in such a way that I actually didn't think it was a real game. I thought it was just a conceptual, like a concept, just something to illustrate like how you'd be interacting on Miiverse, but it's an actual game. They showed a teaser trailer at Ubisoft's E3. Today they showed actual gameplay footage. The game looks excellent visually, and they showed how the gamepad would be used. I believe 8 minutes total on. Oh yes, and they also did they show Rayman on stage? I don't know. I don't remember. But then they started, after 8 minutes of Ubisoft, they started winding down, and I was like, oh, come on, don't end here. And they started plugging, go to e3.nintendo.com to get the full story on Nintendo's E3 and what the full extent of Wii U. And then at 56 minutes in, they started talking about Nintendo Land. And Nintendo Land seems to be what became of the gamepad tech demos from E3 2011, like Shield Pose and Chase Me, and that Samus themed demo with all those asymmetric multiplayer demos. Those have become Nintendo Land. And I think they should have spent fewer than 5 minutes on it. They should have just came straight out and said, Nintendo Land, this is going to be for Wii U what Wii Sports did for the original Wii, and discuss the Luigi's Mansion demo because uh, the Luigi's Mansion themed minigame. Actually, I thought that was an interesting discussion and like the design theory and how you build the game and how you conceive of the game. But it should have been that. They could have shortened that a little bit, but that was interesting to watch. But combined with all the other stuff like the footage and going on and on about how great it is and about how it's connected to Miiverse, and then they're gonna show another trip. Hey, what's up? Nothing. I'm filming a video right now. Can I call you back in a minute or so? All right, bye. So uh, then they basically, where was I? The red me, yeah, basically they went on way too long about Nintendo Land. They should have just showed Nintendo Land. It's the new Wii Sports, and here's one game, Luigi game, and here's the trailer, and that's it. Instead, they went on and on about it and how great it was and how wonderful this theme park was. They keep going on about it. It's a theme park. It's a theme park. It's a theme park. It's a theme park. And I'm like, that's I don't know. It's really odd how much emphasis they placed on it's a theme park, and then they left with like Reggie was like, here's another look at the glory of Nintendo Land, and I'm like, and you get to see some cartoony fireworks, and that was ending like that, and the ending was very abrupt. And ending like that was a huge mistake because basically when everyone went to the blogs and went to wherever they wanted to talk about it, that was fresh in their minds. Like that was what they left with. I think no, if they left everything else the same and they just put Nintendo Land at the beginning and Pikmin 3 at the end, I think the whole presentation, I think people would have left with a much better impression. So they're pacing. Okay, so I was excited by the news. I was excited to learn more. I liked most of what I saw. Uh, there were pacing issues. I think there were some poor choices on what was and wasn't shown and for how long. But overall, I was satisfied with the presentation. I'd say of the three of the console manufacturers, they like I think they had the best presentation, but by far of overall of the major presentations, I'd say Ubisoft definitely won on that aspect. Uh, Sony, if they had placed more emphasis on the Vita and dropped more Vita games, and didn't sell themselves so short on the variety they did have to offer for PS3, because there are a lot of games they're showing at E3 for PS3 that they didn't mention. If they had done that, then I would have said Sony's was better than Nintendo's. But I actually did enjoy Nintendo's more, even though I did have issues. There are parts of it that did disappoint me. They weren't as aggressive as I expected them to be, but no, I'm not going to send a pipe bomb to Reggie or anything like that. So that's my opinion of Nintendo's main E3 presentation, and there's going to be another one for 3DS tonight. I'll do a live reaction shot or an impressions video for that. And thanks for watching.